Hello and welcome to Newsroom series. I'm Olumide Macaulay. Thank you for joining us. This is where we furnish you with news from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Katsina State Acting Governor, Mr. Farouk Jobe, calls for stronger military support to boost ongoing operations against banditry in the state. And he made the appeal during a side meeting with the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, at an International Organization for Migration event in Abuja on Tuesday. He highlights the urgent need for closer collaboration between the military and Katsina state government, stressing that banditry continues to endanger rural communities, disrupt farming, and displace families. He says protecting lives is key not only to restoring peace but also to reviving the state's economy. In response, General Musa assures the acting governor that the armed forces remains fully committed to the fight against banditry. He pledges that military operations in Katsina and other troubled areas will be strengthened until peace is fully restored. The special advisor to the president on media and communications, Sunday Dare, is commending President Bola Tinubu for pushing social safety net programs that directly targets the needs of Nigerians. He highlighted key initiatives such as subsidized healthcare, education support, and agricultural funding, which are designed to ease the daily struggles of citizens. Speaking as a guest this morning on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily, he explained that these policies are part of the administration's broader plan to reduce hardship and create more opportunities for Nigerians. He insists that the initiatives clearly show President Tinubu's commitment to improving the well-being of citizens and building a stronger support system for vulnerable groups across the country.
The government is on the right track. 5 million has gone out. We're going to stretch that further. That's one. Two, you look at NELFON. Don't let us just walk over it, because before NELFON there was nothing. So when you have about 400,000, 86 billion going to support the students in school, and you have 36 billion as stipends. The last time we had bursary was several years ago. That's the safety net there somewhere. The support going to the ginger farmers, 1.5 billion. The 500,000 young farmers, smallhold farmers, collecting direct support. That's part of NELFON. Talk about yesterday. You talk about the CS. CS is now free. Then you talk about the kidney dialysis, brought down from 50,000 to 12,000, a 75% reduction. When you understand the concept of social safety net, it's trying to subsidize some of the important things that the Nigerian people deal with on a daily basis. And do I agree that this needs to be scaled up? Absolutely. And we see a president committed to doing that.
The Nigerian Bar Association has strongly condemned the assault on Ms. Jennifer Elobo, a National Youth Service Corps member serving in Anambra State. In a statement signed by the president, Afam Osigwe, the association notes that while security agencies have the mandate to apprehend criminals and maintain law and order, such powers must never be exercised in a manner that tramples on the rights of citizens. According to the NBA, the conduct displayed in the viral video, where the young Corps member was beaten and stripped of her clothing, is a complete negation of those safeguards and an affront to human decency. The NBA also commends the Anambra State government for its swift action in identifying and arresting the operatives responsible. The association says accountability must not stop at the arrest, as the perpetrators must be promptly and diligently prosecuted in accordance with the law. Meanwhile, a prominent social commentator, Andrew Mwata, condemned the alleged assault on the National Youth Service Corps member in Anambra State. He called on the state government and civil society groups and the Inspector General of Police to take urgent action. He also called for a thorough investigation and prosecution of those involved, in his opinion, stressing the importance of stronger security and protection of citizens' rights, especially for vulnerable groups such as the NYC members.
Governor of Anambra, all Nigerians, an explanation. You are the chief security officer of that state. I saw in BBC Pidgin a response by his special advisor on community affairs Do you know that a thing like that can create a civil war if that person is not from that state? You don't treat a human being like that. Just as I mentioned earlier, the eggshell rule in law says you take a victim as you find him. The way and manner she was attacked, it was a case of attempted murder by people who claim to be security personnel. This incident took place in July. But I can assure you that nothing has been done to disband that security outfit. And even it brings to question the need to regulate the activities of vigilante groups in Nigeria. But I think if it is states established, it is the duty of the state to also regulate, profile, and train the security outfits. When you see things like this, it brings out the danger, the mischief behind state police. Because the federal police we are managing, we've had the EdSARS protests and what have you, to now allow people who are not properly trained to manage security in itself is a threat to security. And as such, we expect action on the part of the Anambra State government. We expect action on the part of civil society groups in Anambra State, because I know they exist. They should take up this matter before the National Human Rights Commission. I expect an action to be filed in court, and I expect the Inspector General of Police to come into this matter and ensure that those people are properly prosecuted and they are tried for what they did.
And now we turn our attention to the south region of the country, for which our area of concentration for this edition is based. Environmental activities or rather activists in Ogoniland in Rivers State are calling on the federal government to urgently decommission aging oil facilities in the area. They say the step is necessary to prevent further disaster and should follow recommendations by the United Nations Environment Programme. The call comes after a new oil spill from Well 14 in Yola, Kana local government area. The spill, which started on August 3rd, was followed by a fire outbreak on August 15th, causing severe damage to farmland and rivers. Speaking at a forum with journalists in Port Harcourt, the lead activist, Celestine Akwabari, noted that the UNEP report, especially page 205, recommends decommissioning obsolete oil facilities. He warns that continued neglect and recurring spills are endangering Ogoni communities, while also demanding compensation for affected farmers.
Oil Watch, OMEP, Lake and Development Foundation, Kebekeche, ERA, and all of us that are gathered here firmly, oppose the involvement of Sahara Energy or any proxy companies in solving this matter. NNPC must bear responsibility because they are in charge of the facilities that belong to OML level. Urgent recommendations. We're asking that NNPC must immediately decommission all 17 aging wells in Kenya in line with UNEP report recommendations to prevent further environmental disasters. 2, provide adequate compensation to ensure fair and prompt compensation to affected farmers and fisher folks and families, consistent with the industry standards that where things like this happen, you have to step in to provide support for the affected and impacted community.
The federal government has assured the people of Kwiang community in Ogoniland, in the Kana local government area of Rivers State, that it will respond swiftly to the recent oil spill in the area. The assurance comes from the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, which says measures are already in place to address the community's concerns. A NOSDRA official confirms that a joint investigation has been completed with clear recommendations made for action. He explains that part of the recommendations is to carry out a full cleanup of the affected site to restore the environment. The official adds that the spill may have been caused by resurfacing oil, equipment failure, or aging facilities in Ogoniland. He stresses that the federal government is committed to ensuring proper remediation and protecting the welfare of the impacted community. Inclusive communication is being described as a key tool for Nigeria's development at a time of economic insecurity and reform and growing distrust between leaders and citizens. This is the view of experts at the 142nd inaugural lecture of the University of Calabar. Professor of Media, Change and Development Communication, Stanislaus Oyoza, calls on the federal government to adopt a more participatory style of communication, built on dialogue, consultation, and feedback. He explained that governance should not be a one-way street, but a two-way process that puts citizens at the center.
Communicating change and development alone cannot be effective in Nigeria without an improved state of living of citizens, and that Nigeria's avalanche of media spaces for communicating change and development are yet to be tapped. My recommendations: there should be promotion of all communication skills. For the future of change and development, communication in Nigeria, the federal government of Nigeria should encourage the mastery of communication skills among her citizens, especially reading and receptiveness and writing and expressiveness. Promotion of local dialects. Federal Ministry of Education in Nigeria should consider the promotion of local dialect learning in primary and secondary schools and compel JAM to make a credit pass in every candidate's local dialect compulsory.
Now, the call for stronger laws to regulate mining activities is gaining traction in Cross River State as Governor Basio II backs tighter regulations to address those challenges facing the mining communities. This comes during a courtesy visit by the House of Representatives Committee on Solid Minerals to the governor at the Government House in Calabar.
Mining communities in Cross River State face severe environmental hazards that threaten their health and livelihoods. Unregulated mining activities contaminate water sources with toxic chemicals like lead, mercury, and arsenic, exposing residents to deadly diseases and long-term health problems. Farmlands are destroyed, creating food insecurity, deforestation, and soil erosion, weakening the ecosystem, leaving communities open to flooding and other forms of disaster. Perhaps it's why the House of Representatives Committee on Solid Minerals are here, and it notes that while mining contributes greatly to Nigeria's economy, it leaves serious consequences for host communities when not properly regulated.
The state houses of assembly do not have rights to legislate over issues to do with mining. However, mines are gotten from the ground. And the land use decree puts the land in the exclusive rights of the government to hold in trust. So, we have a situation where His Excellency must think of an ingenious way to safeguard the interest of the citizens of the federal, of his state.
The state governor Basio II, while receiving the delegation, expresses support for the initiative. He calls for stronger collaboration between the federal and state governments to balance development with the well-being of host communities.
It looks quite simple, but it's very difficult, particularly in a state where you have vast lands and too many what I would call villages and locations. There has to be a way officially by either the cadastral office or the ministry on how to recognize official concepts that come from the state government. If not so, that lacuna will still not allow for any similar cooperation.
As mining expands across Nigeria, stakeholders insist that stronger state laws are needed to ensure natural resources become a blessing to communities and not a burden.
You're watching Newsroom series. Coming up, the National Sports Commission endorses Bayelsa State's bid to host the 2024, that is the 2028, National Sports Festival. Please stay with us.
As far as your eyes can see, you can own it.
Welcome back. The National Sports Festival, the National Sports Commission, has endorsed Bayelsa State's bid to host the 2028 National Sports Festival. After inspecting facilities in Yenagoa, officials describe Bayelsa as a sleeping giant in sports that is now awake.
The inspection team from the National Sports Commission arrives in Yenagoa with a clear mandate to assess Bayelsa's readiness to host Nigeria's biggest multi-sport competition in 2028. From the ongoing 25,000 capacity sports complex to the Oxbow Lake Arena, the table tennis center, and NYSC facilities, the team notes significant improvement.
Executive Governor of Bayelsa State.
At Government House, the team meets with Governor Doyodiri. The Director General of the National Sports Commission speaks about the inspection.
Part of the things that we must look at before we give out the hosting rights is for a team of thoroughbred technocrats to be put together to, in a very finicky way, check all your facilities, from medical to your roads, to the security, to the welcome ambience, and of course the sporting facilities. Your Excellency, I can tell you that I'm very, very glad to know from my experts that they said Bayelsa is even ready today more than the next host.
Governor Doyodiri assures the delegation that Bayelsa is fully prepared to deliver a successful national sports festival.
Having served as a commissioner for sports in this state and followed the sports industry all this while, I felt that the opportunity I have today should be used maximally for sports development. I'm happy that we have made a bid that is acceptable to the National Sports Commission, and you have come in here to see things for yourself. Our state is a peaceful state. Our state is a sports-loving state. In hosting the National Sports Festival, we are very prepared about that.
The Commissioner for Sports Development, Olympic gold medalist Daniel Ligali, says Bayelsa's bid is strong and convincing.
From the overview of all the collective voices, it appears we have a very good chance of hosting the 2028 Sports Festival. We're keeping our fingers crossed, hoping it will come our way.
With other states already withdrawing from the race, Bayelsa now looks to be in pole position. The final announcement of the host states for the 2028 and 2030 National Sports Festival will be made in September.
The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, is charging young sailors who are graduating from the Nigerian Army, that is the Nigerian Navy Military School in Akwa Ibom State, to remain focused and resilient as they pursue careers in the Navy. He gave the advice during the passing out parade of the 2025 set of young sailors at the school.
The graduation marks a major milestone for the 2025 set of young sailors, preparing them for future careers in the Nigerian Navy. The Chief of Naval Staff, represented by the Chief of Administration at the Nigerian Navy School, Rear Admiral Gabriel Aligwe, congratulates the graduates. He says the training gives them a solid foundation for a successful military career. He also assures that the Nigerian Navy remains committed to protecting Nigeria's waterways through ongoing operations across the country.
The training they've received here will give them proper grounding, for a very long and fulfilling career in the military. Some might not even be in the Navy, some will end up joining the Air Force or the Army when they go to NDA. So this is a very good grounding for them to fulfill their future careers.
Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Umo Eno, represented by the Commissioner for Education, Professor Ubong Umo, also congratulates the young sailors, commending them for excelling in both academics and military training urging them to avoid acts that could affect their future negatively.
I therefore wish to reiterate my tenacious support to the Nigerian Navy Military School. With the quality of teachers you have in this school, I have no doubt that you would have been well groomed and have the requisite potentials to succeed in the larger society.
The best graduating student, Lawrence Alex, shares his thoughts on the achievement.
It was not an easy journey. You know, burning midnight candles, staying awake. We did a lot just to be where I am today. It was not very easy as it looks like. And I'm very happy that I have been able to achieve this feat, because from the first day I stepped my feet into this school, that was my vision, and I'm happy that I'm able to accomplish it.
The Nigerian Navy Military School, Ikot Ntwen, was commissioned on May 23, 2018 to build the capacity of future naval personnel by exposing them early to naval culture and environment at the secondary school level.
Now, the Edo State Ministry of Justice has disclosed it's investing in speedy dispensation of justice in alignment with Governor Monday Okwebelo's administration's vision to uphold the rule of law and protect citizens' rights. State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Samson Osage, during a conversation with journalists in Benin City on an overview of the ministry activities within the last 7 months, disclosed that the ministry had drafted a number of bills bordering on healthcare, education, lottery, amongst others.
The ministry, in recognition of the fact that correctional services are now constitutional matters within the concurrent list, has taken steps to enable the state to invest in speedy dispensation of justice through the provision of logistic support, and this will materialize soon. The Department of Civil Rights has received numerous complaints from several members of the public on matters such as domestic violence, landlord and tenant disputes, marital disputes and child custody and welfare cases, financial disputes, land disputes, etc. Under the period under review, this department has successfully heard and concluded 101 cases, because these are complaints that come from very indigent members of the society who have no money to take lawyers to pursue their case for them, and given the fast nature of them. This achievement underscores our unwavering commitment for the protection of human rights and the provision of access to justice for all.
Finally, the Edo State government is introducing new education policies to improve stability, consistency, and quality learning across schools in the state. The Ministry of Education says the new rules will take effect from the 2025-2026 academic session. Under the new policy, textbooks approved by the ministry must be used for at least 4 years before review, allowing younger siblings to reuse books already purchased by their families. The state also directs that graduation ceremonies be reserved only for pupils completing JS3 and SS3, with modest celebrations. Nursery, kindergarten, and primary 6 pupils are no longer allowed to hold graduation parties or prom events. In addition, all GSS3 students must now undergo compulsory entrepreneurship training before graduation, starting from the next academic session. Each GSS3 graduate will receive both the Basic Education Certificate Examination and a Skills Acquisition Certificate. The government says this reform will ensure students are academically grounded while also prepared with practical skills to succeed in life. And that's it on Newsroom Series. Thank you for watching. I'm Olumide Mokolo.